Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osaberg501 and today I want to go over another leaked legendary tier set for Outriders, and this is the Ugake set for the Trickster. Now before we get into the video, less than 5% of people that watch my videos are subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with all of my uploads. And like with all of these leaked legendary items in Outriders, we're not going to be paying much attention to the specific stats. We're mainly going to be paying attention to the mods on the armor pieces and the tier set bonus. And all of the class specific tier sets in Outriders focus on two different abilities, whether it be through the tier set bonus or the mods on the armor pieces. And the first ability for this set is Hunt the Prey. Select an enemy and teleport behind them and receive a shield bonus. Now we do have this in the demo, and it makes a Trickster really fun to play because you can teleport pretty long distances. The ability is on a relatively short cooldown baseline, and then it makes you tankier. So you teleport behind a bunch of enemies, now you're in close range, then you can kill them easily and have that shield bonus so you don't die as quickly. And it makes the Trickster feel much smoother to play and gives it a much faster playstyle. And the second ability is Venator's Knife. Throw a temporal knife at an enemy. The blade will ricochet between a maximum of 5 enemies within a small radius, dealing damage and marking them. All marked targets will be inflicted with slow, and for 10 seconds the first damage dealt by you will be doubled on that enemy. And this is overall an incredibly strong ability baseline. It's essentially a bouncing damage ability, so it has that AoE mix into it that deals a small amount of damage, but then it also gives you the chance to deal a massive amount of damage to whatever targets they hit. So it also adds some additional gameplay to be able to use it better and have that little bit higher of a skill cap. And the tier set bonus for this set is Hunt the Prey does not consume its cooldown when teleporting behind an enemy marked with Venator's Knife. So this completely changes the way both these abilities work, or at least how Hunt the Prey works, while also using Venator's Knife, because now you throw this Venator's Knife out and it bounces to 5 enemies, which will then be taking double damage on the first hit. But now you can teleport to any of those enemies with Hunt the Prey, not have a cooldown, kill that enemy really quickly because you did double damage on your first damage to them, so you have a good chance of killing them or coming close to killing them. Then teleport to the next enemy hit with Venator's Knife and just rinse and repeat that. And this could be a very good way to quickly clear out enemies while also keeping yourself alive very easily, because the base healing of the Trickster gives them shielding when you kill enemies in close range, so you're also healing yourself, getting shield, and just teleporting around doing a ton of damage to these specific enemies. So first we have Ugake's Cowl, and the tier 3 for this is instant reload for Hunt the Prey. Teleporting instantly replenishes the magazine in your current weapon, so just using the ability at any point will refill your entire magazine. And then mixing this with the tier set bonus and Venator's Knife, you now can teleport to an enemy that just got hit by Venator's Knife. Your Hunt the Prey won't use its cooldown, you'll replenish your magazine, you can kill that enemy quickly because now you do double damage at first shot, you have a full magazine, then you could teleport to another enemy that got hit by your knife and refill your magazine again. And this will essentially just keep snowballing you into teleporting to a new enemy, doing tons of damage with your full magazine, healing up, getting shielding from teleporting, then rinse and repeat that. I could see this tier set being very good for jumping around to different elites and killing them very quickly. And the other mod is Eager Edges for Venator's Knife. Add 2 more bounces during the ricochet path, so it takes it from 5 ricochets to 7. This also gives you more options of where to use your Hunt the Prey to not put it on cooldown and to do some additional AoE damage. Next, we have Ugake's Talisman. The tier 3 for this is Sniper Blades. Venator's Knife increases the skill's range by 50%. So this helps the ability bounce to different enemies more easily, because if, say, you throw it at an enemy and the second enemy is out of range, or if there's no enemy in range, it won't bounce anything or it won't bounce as much. So this allows it to get more guaranteed bounces because it has that longer range. And the other mod is Dance of Death for Hunt the Prey. Decreases the skill's cooldown by 20%. Now this is definitely something I would see you rolling off. This could be something that's good in a different build that uses Hunt the Prey, but with this specific build in the tier set, I don't see a reason to have a cooldown reduction on Hunt the Prey because you're already using it so much without it even using its cooldown, and the cooldown is already pretty low baseline, so if you use it every once in a while without using it on an enemy hit with Venator's Knife, it's not going to be really that big of a deal. So this is one of those mods that's definitely going to be rolled off. So next we have Ugake's arm wraps, and the tier 3 for this is ready for anything. 10% of critical damage dealt to elites is returned to you as health. Now I'm not sure how strong this is going to end up being, but it's going to be much stronger as you get further into the game and get into the end game, because there's going to be more elites in general, and elites are going to be the harder thing that's harder to kill, deals more damage to you than all the other fodder enemies that are around the map. And the game seems to have a really high density, so the later you get into the game, once you get into expeditions in the end game, there will be a lot more elites. So at that point it could definitely be much better, but it all depends on how many elites are actually going to be around and how consistent they're going to be in the areas you're fighting in. Next we have Backstabber for Hunt the Prey. Using this skill, it deals 80,000 damage to the enemy you teleport behind. Now comparing the numbers on these items to that of items that have been officially released by developers, this seems like a really high amount of damage. And also this is going to turn this tier set bonus in this build into using the Venator's blade on an enemy, then you teleport behind it, and now your Hunt the Prey has no cooldown, and also the double damage on your first hit with Venator's blade is going to take this 80,000 damage and double it. And it's going to be a bit less than that when the game is fully released and you actually get these items at the end game, but that's still going to be a lot of damage, and doubling that instantly when teleporting on them could possibly kill non-elite enemies, just grunts walking around and stuff like that. It could possibly kill them in one hit. So you could possibly get to the point where you throw your Venator's knife out, it does some damage when hitting the target, teleport behind them, do this double damage, really heavy hit from Hunt to Prey, kill that enemy or do a lot of damage, and then just teleport around to all the enemies hit by your Venator's knife and deal a ton of damage to all those enemies and possibly kill a bunch of them. And then we have Ugake's Waistcloth, and the tier 3 for this is Boomerang Blades for Venator's knife. After the initial ricochet, the knife will repeat its path and damage enemies a second time. So there's a few ways this could work, but how this seems like it's going to work from its description is that you're going to throw your Venator's knife, it's going to bounce to all the targets it would normally bounce to, so 5 baseline, and then after it hits the 5th, it's going to act like on that target the ability was casted again, so then it's going to bounce to 5 more enemies starting on that 5th enemy from the initial hit. So then it will bounce to 5 more enemies, and I'm not certain if it just does the damage or if it also applies the other effects that the ability itself applies. I'm assuming it's still going to apply all the effects the ability normally applies, which will slow enemies, do that damage, and allow you to deal double damage when hitting them the first time, and Hunt the Prey teleporting to any of those enemies won't have a cooldown because of the tier set, making the options you have for using this build with this tier set much more vast with this specific tier 3 mod. Next we have Time Blast for Hunt the Prey. Apply slow in a 5-meter radius around the enemy you teleport behind. Now this seems decent, but in my opinion this is something I would roll off as well. Slow is nice, but also keep it in consideration that you could melee things in front of you. You could apply slow like that. You could do your sprinting jump melee that slams the ground, applies slow to everything, and then pretty much all your abilities apply slow anyway. In my opinion, it's probably not going to be as strong, and there's most likely going to be much better mods. Finally, we have Ugake's Boots. The shooter for this is not impressed. Reduces the damage taken from elites by 20%. And like I've gone over when going over this mod on a bunch of these leaked armor pieces, I'm not sure if these are on so many armor pieces because there was an issue with how these items are obtained, if they were rolled off and it just doesn't show it in this window, or if they're actually supposed to be here. But with this specific mod, it'll get better into the late game, but I don't think it's that great of a mod, especially when comparing it to some of the tier 3 class specific mods. Then we have Sharpening for Venator's knife, increases skills damage by 23,000. Now this is a decent bit of damage, and also consider that with mixing it with all the other mods we've gone over, it's going to bounce to 7 enemies. Then with that tier 3 mod, it's going to bounce to another 7 enemies, dealing now a ton of additional damage. So it does help turning this ability into a much better AoE damaging ability that then also synergizes with your tier set bonus, your Hunt the Prey ability, and a bunch of other synergies through mods. So that is the entirety of the Ugake set, and in my opinion this seems like a really fun overall set to use. I'm not exactly certain how good this is going to be. With a lot of the synergies that these mods and the tier set bonus has, it seems like it can be pretty decent, but even past that, these synergies and how this build is going to play just seem incredibly fun. You're throwing this knife that bounces around, then you're teleporting to to an enemy without the cooldown being used, doing a ton of damage on a single hit, possibly killing enemies, then just teleporting around to all these different enemies your knife bounced to without your teleport going on cooldown. So it's just a really fast playstyle that also lends itself to being incredibly strong and becoming even stronger as you kill enemies and snowball off killing those enemies. So subscribe if you want to see more Outriders or other videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this tier set, and thanks for watching.